What's going on, guys? Alex here at you this evening, Tuesday evening. It's the end of day one down here at Paintball Extravaganza. We got a bunch of comments. Yeah, apparently my computer was really loud. So that was because I was recording with the webcam on the computer, and I guess since, the microphone's attached to the computer, it picks up a lot of noise. So, not filming this with a webcam, using the regular camera, so hopefully it'll be a hell of a lot quieter. Anyway, so just initial kind of day one rundown of Extravaganza. I got to walk around, check out most of the stuff very, very briefly. I only really got to check out a couple things really, really in depth. I did have a class earlier this afternoon. Alex had a couple classes today, so he was pretty busy.
Yep.
And then obviously there's just a lot of people there, so you can't always talk to reps and company people that are down there to get the lowdown on stuff. So right off the bat, let's just talk about the four biggest things I think everybody's talking about right now.
Yeah.
That's the new shocker, the new rotor, the new HK loader.
Yeah.
There's not a whole lot of people talking about the fourth one, but it is something that we went over kind of in depth today, and that's the new pump gun from Zodin, the KP3, the successor to the KP2.
Yeah.
So let's just start off and go down the list I have here. Let's just start off with the shocker. That seems to be the most popular thing. It definitely seems to be the most showy item at Extravaganza. It definitely seems to be the thing everybody's most interested in. It had that glamorous release at noon with the big rotating glass cases and all that kind of fine stuff. So just right off the bat, first time you went over and we're just looking at it for a minute, what were your initial reactions? What do you think?
Super light, streamlined. It was just great all around.
Yeah.
I liked it a lot. Great price point.
Yeah, $800 is really solid. I think it's a price point that's there's not a lot of guns in, and traditionally has been a hard price point for people to put guns in and sell. A lot of people tend to start off with something really cheap, and then you kind of work into like the $300 range, and then a lot of people will get something in like the $400 or $500 range, and then from that point, historically, for the most part, that's where you see people just automatically jump up to a super gun. Something in the $1,000+ range. But traditionally, there's been nothing in that $500 to $1,000 range, like $1,700. Really hasn't been that much in that price range. Now we have the X Pro. Now we have the shocker coming in at $800, which is $100 more than what the X Pro is going for.
Yeah.
I think, or is the X Pro $799 as well? I don't remember. It's $700 or $800. I think it's $7 though.
Yeah.
Either way, there traditionally just hasn't been anything there, so, will it be an easy sell at $800? Obviously, we'll have to see because it's not out yet and nobody can buy it yet.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely agree. I like the price point at $800. I think we all came in assuming it was going to be somewhere like,
I figured at least $1,000.
Yeah, I was figuring like, between the 11 and 12 region. And it certainly looks like it could be.
Oh, and the feel of it too. Yeah,
the way it feels, and just first impressions, just looking at it, it looks like it would be something like right around $1,100.
Yeah, it's got the toolless bolt removal.
Yep. It's got the
OLED board.
Yep, it's got the OLED, which they said isn't the same as the OLED screen that's in the Lux, but it looks the same.
Well, actually, the shocker one I think is square.
Yep.
Versus the Lux is more rounded.
It
It could just strictly be the milling, but I think it's the board that's.
It's all whatever. It's just, it looks like the same damn thing.
Yeah, and it's not a traditional shocker either.
Correct. Yeah, the bolt
one thing.
The bolt system seems to be more in tune with a DM than anything.
Yeah.
It's not a Lux by any means.
Because a Lux is an old shocker.
Right.
And the new shocker is not
a Lux, so it's not a shocker.
Yeah.
They're calling it the shocker.
Yeah, like the Lux is the 4-way valve.
Yeah. The shocker's using a 3-way. It's definitely more. It functions more like a die matrix than it does a Lux. So will it have that silky smooth shot?
There's no LPR also, people. So
yeah, that's true. Although
it works similar to the DM, but it doesn't have the LPR.
Yeah, although looking at that, the regulator that's on it, which normally traditionally what you would call a high pressure regulator, is not so much of a high pressure regulator anymore. It's just kind of a regulator because the pressures it's working with, the numbers it's working with are fairly low. Everybody still kind of calls it an HPR. Because back in the day, it was.
I called it an HPR. He corrects me.
Yeah.
It says it's the LPR. I'm like, I thought you said they didn't have an LPR. It's like it only has one regulator.
It only has one regulator, but it's it's low pressure. And I was like, okay.
Yeah. Cocker threads.
It's auto cocker threaded, which is absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
I think obviously it made sense that coming out of GOG DLX,
they'd use the ion.
They'd use the ion impulse. Lux threads, and I wouldn't have batted an eye knowing that, it came from GOG DLX, but they made it cocker threaded, which I think is a brilliant move.
That's what people wanted.
Yeah, that's what people wanted. It's universal. Everything else is cocker thread except for spiders and A5s.
Yeah.
So
it comes with All-American barrel with a one insert.
Yep.
Nice case. It's very much like the Lux soft case.
Yeah, it is very much. He said it comes with the All-American barrel. It's a freak barrel with the All-American tip.
Yeah.
So it is a freak back.
Yeah.
It takes freak inserts. It comes with one insert. You're pretty much the classic style All-American tip, although it looks really, really thin for some reason.
It looks maybe a little bit. I think it's because it's gloss.
Yeah, that's true. But it's got the same swire porting, classic AA tip.
Yeah.
The foregrip up front, the reg,
super thin.
It's really, really, really thin. It's like a little. It's it's not. It's probably half the width of like a Lux or like your standard regulator.
Yeah.
Like even like on a DM or an Ego or Geo or something like that. It's probably like half of that.
Yeah, it felt good though.
It felt good. It didn't feel like you were holding on to like a little brittle stick or anything like that. Frame felt good. Comfy.
Trigger felt good too.
The trigger, I was really impressed with the trigger. It was really, there's definitely magnets in there.
Yeah.
But it felt really crisp and snappy, and it returned really, really well.
Smooth.
Yeah, it felt really smooth.
Yeah.
I did really like the trigger. The bolt out the back is a little button right under the back of the bolt. You just push and it pops it out.
Yeah, and if the gun is aired up, you can hit the button.
Yeah.
And the bolt will shoot back about ½ inch, and it will drain your whole tank. So that's one thing that they said is...
Yeah, it's definitely something to kind of watch out for, probably.
Yeah. It's got like a new style ASA. It looks identical to the Lux.
Yeah.
But the actual stem itself, like on the Lux, the stem has the O-ring.
Yep.
Now the O-ring is now part of the ASA. So people hopefully will no longer be slicing up those O-rings.
Yeah. Yeah, putting that pin in it now.
Yeah.
Other than that, the bolt system, without showing you a picture, I can probably get a picture maybe tomorrow or something like that. It's kind of hard to explain.
Yeah.
It is more DM-ish than anything. Other than that, obviously, all we got to do is listen to the whole spiel about it in the booth and hold it and fondle it. So, we can't shoot it, obviously. We can't play with it. So, initial reactions is, I like it, I think it's good, I think this could work.
Yeah. I'm the same way. I can't wait to
but we'll have
get one to try it or whatever.
Exactly. We're going to have to wait and see. But first impressions, I like it.
Yeah.
Let's move on to the new rotor, the R2. So this is not a replacement for the current rotor. This is the next step up from the current rotor. The current rotor, the standard rotor, will still be available and still be produced, and will stay at the same $200 it is now. The rotor R2 that is coming out, it's going to be the next step up.
Upgraded version.
Yeah. I like it. I do. I know you don't. Your initial reaction, you don't like it so much.
It just seems kind of like gimmicky. Slide this switch and then transformer pops out. Yeah,
it's a transformer.
Yeah. I don't know. It's just there was somewhat prototype also that we were looking at. Like they were still waiting on certain pieces and guides to come in. So like when he was opening it and closing it, it was a little clunky. But he did explain that it's going to have guides here and there kind of thing.
Yeah. Obviously, it'll be more, finished and smoother and stuff like that when it's done.
Yeah.
My initial thought, I like it. I like that it's a much smaller profile.
Yeah.
It's a little bit shorter. It's certainly not as tall.
Yeah.
But the base in the back is wider, so it hold. At the standard collapsed mode, it does hold. That 200 rounds that
right.
You really want and need. Out of your standard size hopper, and then it holds even more when you open up the thing. How much more? I don't really know exactly. I mean, that's up for debate.
And people online, they were asking, does it go down as you shoot?
Does it go down?
I thought it was maybe like an accordion. Like you fill it up for the break, and then as you shoot, they thought it went down. And then when you filled it up, they thought it went back up.
The die rotor R2 does not function like an accordion.
No. So in case anybody had questions on that.
In case you had accordion questions, it is not an accordion.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like the thing because that gives you. I think it's just a great idea to have an all-encompassing thing.
Yeah.
You don't have to buy accessories. You don't have to buy extra parts. It comes as it is, and you can use it in the standard size. You can use it in the big size. And I like the transformation between the two different points.
Yeah.
It doesn't really make it too much bigger. But it also there's not anything like getting in the way. It's not like a whole extra like thing. It's just two thin pieces of plastic that kind of collapse on each other. It just doesn't take up any more room.
Yeah.
I think it's really slick the way they pulled that off. And then obviously the feed system on the inside, the little cyclone vortex thingy, that's pretty much the same. There's a new motor and a new board. The new board on the inside of the rotor has 2 dip switches. So now for all you Scenario Woods Ball guys rocking rotors out there and it's getting a little bit dark, if you just flick a dip switch instead of messing with all the crap on the board now, you can just flick a dip switch, it goes into blackout mode, there's no lights, which is really cool. It also has a variation of a shot counter, basically.
Yeah.
It's got a little button under the power button. So when you initially fill up your rotor for the first time, you don't have to hit it. As you're shooting and stuff like that, it's going to beep at you at a certain interval of...
I believe it's every 50 shots.
It's like every 50 shots.
The first 100 shots and then another 50 shots.
Yeah, the first 100 shots, it's going to beep at you twice.
Yeah, something like that.
After that, to let you know that you've already gone through 100 rounds, and then after you do 50 more and you hit 150 rounds that you've gone through the loader, you're starting to get to the point where you've gone through 150 rounds, it holds 200, so you're going to want to dump a pod in it. When you hit the 150 mark, as it's kind of calculating and counting paint that goes through, it beeps 3 times at you to let you know it's time to reload.
And then it won't beep after that.
And then, so what happens is, it won't beep after that. When you go to reload, you throw your pod in, you need to push the button, and it kind of resets the counter, basically.
Yeah, and if you don't want that counter, then you just don't reset it.
Yeah, and then just don't reset it, and, it'll beep twice, and it'll beep 3 times, like the first time. It's not super, super, like, blaringly loud, but it's noticeable. But if you just don't hit the button, it'll just never beep again. You don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
It's a cool feature, like, in thought. In practice...
It's a little too corny for die.
Maybe it's kind of gimmicky. I love the idea. It's a good idea. It's nice information to know. How many people are actually going to use that out on the field? Maybe when you're in the woods, it's not so much of a big deal because a lot of times, if you're behind bunkers and stuff like that, maybe you're not in as big of a hurry. So you can sit there and you have that extra second of, oh, cool, I can push my shot counter. That was cool. Yeah. If you're out on the tourney field.
Yeah.
And you're running and gunning, and I can honestly probably see 0 of the people even bothering with it.
It's weird that they put that feature in it, because you can only imagine that there was a demand for it. So you think there's people requesting it.
Dye's always innovative. Maybe I didn't
because
really notice.
people request for the OLED boards, and they say no. So which means that there's more people who want a button on their loader than who want boards in their guns.
Which is doubtful. So I'm going to go with Dye's just trying to be innovative. How's that?
All right, that works.
Okay. It's cool, but I think, tourney fields, it's just a gimmicky thing that I think not a lot of people are going to bother with. Woods ball scenario kind of stuff, I think it might be a more useful thing. However, woods ball scenario kind of stuff, if you're out in the woods, there's a certain amount that goes into it that you're not trying to have all of your equipment be beeping as you're
letting people know that you're running low on paint
as you're running through the woods, and it's like really, really quiet, and then all of a sudden like one shot goes out, and you're like, oh man, it's really, really quiet again, and then you just hear this super loud set of 3 beeps, and then everybody just shoots the shit out of the bush.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Yeah, I mean, we'll see. It's cool. It's whatever.
Yeah. I like how their speed feed works now.
I do like the speed.
Lid.
That is the other biggest innovation part. The lid on the top shell is no longer the pin through, and you need to like shove a pair of pliers in there and rip it out, and
the spring goes the color kit,
and then the spring goes flying. It has 2 little spring-loaded pins on the little end of the lid, but they're enclosed. They don't come off it. You just push them in, and you clip the lid on. And if you want to take it out, there's just a little latch on the bottom of the lid. You pull up, it retracts the 2 spring pins in, and you take it out.
Yeah, you can go from lid to speed feed faster than you can split apart a regular rotor.
Oh, absolutely. You can go from lid to speed feed in literally probably 3 seconds.
Yeah. And I do like that.
I do like
that.
I
wasn't a big fan of it at first, but I do like it now.
I appreciate the simplicity and how much easier it makes things, because replacing stock lids with speed feeds, even on modern loaders, has just traditionally been a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
Everybody loses the little pin, and they lose the spring, or they lose the lid, and then it rains, and then they have nothing to fucking put back on. And then it ends up being a disaster, and your paint gets wet, and your hopper breaks, and blah 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 blah. So I like it. You not so much. You think it's a little kind of gimmicky for Dye.
I don't hate it. I just don't really like it.
All right. I like it. I think it's cool. Anyway, moving on to the other big loader that came out, the HK loader.
Oh, you didn't even want to look at it.
I didn't even want to look at it, and I ended up looking at it because I was waiting in line for beer at the GI booth, and I had nothing to do, and the HK booth was right there, and listening to Ryan Greenspan explain the loader is hilarious.
Hilarious, or did he take you off your feet?
No, it was hilarious. So, my initial impression, it's a shell of a Spire with a rotor on the inside.
Rotor dash, what was that? Machine gear kind of thing.
It's a Spire shell with a rotor on the inside. Basically, what's going on with that is the shell looks strikingly similar to a Spire.
The way it comes apart and stuff like that. Just the way it splits in half.
Yeah, the way it splits it splits in half like a rotor initially, with the whole top half of the shell just kind of coming off. But after that, a big one-piece tray comes out like a Spire, and then you can take off individual pieces from there. But that's about it. Up in the front of the loader, where on the Spire they have the spring ramp, and in the back of the rotor they have that spring ramp. In the front of the loader, there's a spring.
It's like a deep well.
It's a spring ramp, but it goes it goes down instead of sitting there and forcing paint to go back. So it pushes it down, and the thought is they call it the spring elevator.
Yeah, because it goes straight down. It's not pitched or anything. It goes.
Yeah, it just cups straight down. So paint, I guess the less paint that's there, the more it's going to spring up. How well it's actually going to work, I don't know. They're still testing it. There's only 10 production models that are currently being.
And Dynasty's
using them all.
Yeah.
So
in price each in Dallas.
Yeah, you'll probably see them in Dallas. Dynasty using them. So how well it actually works, obviously they're still testing it. So you can't give a final opinion on that. The feed system, it looked like a rotor. It looked like a rotor.
It's kind of similar.
It was like the components of a rotor that actually feed paint with the spire's function of if paint gets stuck, it's spring loaded and pops up so it goes over the paint.
So it's a bastard child loader.
It is a pure bastard child of a spire and a rotor.
Yeah.
Again, it's still in testing phase, so we'll see how well it actually works.
Yeah. And there's no tension setting on this. There's no eyes. There's no motion sensor.
Yeah.
The way the sensor works is when the paint goes into the stack.
Yeah.
The stack itself, a piece of it actually moves, and it tells it to stop feeding. And then when you shoot the paint out of the stack, then that piece moves and it tells it to turn back on.
Basically, it's the Pinocchio.
Pinocchio has that like little arm.
Yeah.
So, kind of like the Ricochet had a little tab too.
Oh god.
So, but yeah, I kind of like it. I mean, if you have really small paint, I'm kind of concerned.
I like I don't know. There's not much to talk about because it's still being tested and it could change. That's
people taking pre-orders.
Oh my god, yeah, you can pre-order it at ANS. It hasn't even been made yet or finished, but you can pre-order it.
The speed feed and lid system is just like the new die.
Yeah, also. It's same deal. Like clips in and clips out, same thing. It doesn't come with the speed feed; comes with the standard lid. My favorite part is not even the loader; it's the case that it comes in.
Yeah, it looks like a $200 camera case.
It does.
That's what it looks like.
Yeah, it's basically like a carbon Kevlar little box case, which can fit any type of loader and will be for sale separately by HK for $30, I believe. That's my favorite part about it. I just want the case.
And the loader itself is $200 with the case. So.
With the case, So I guess
if it comes to life, I guess.
Yeah, realistically, they're asking $170 for the loader and $30 for the case.
Yeah.
So who knows there? So yeah, other than that, it's still being tested. It could change. Who knows? They could change all of it.
Yeah.
We're gonna have to wait and see. So.
Yeah.
The other thing we checked out in detail was the new Zodin, the KP3. Very CCM-ish.
Yeah. You were talking with them before I even got there. I didn't even know the price, but I know when I held it, right away my impression was, this is not worth $400.
Which I don't know where you got $400 from.
Just because it looks like a $400 gun. So I put the $400 price tag on it. I don't know. But then when you say it retails for $200, and I said this is worth $200 all day long. So if someone wants to sell it to you for $400, don't buy it.
Why does it look like it's Why does it look like it's $400?
Because it's so CCM-ish. CCM's worth $800, so it's gonna be worth half. It's simple drunk math. Very simple. You want to get in on this?
You want to get it?
So
I don't even carry on. Well, other impressions. Keep going.
It's got the 2-piece barrel, which is obviously interchangeable with the carbon fiber.
That's a great feature.
Yeah. They got the CCM style macroline fittings.
Yep. The same macroline fittings that run the KD2.
Yeah.
Those CCM things. They're nice macro fittings.
Yeah. Actually, it has a decent pump stroke.
Yeah, it's got the.
The stroke's pretty good. If you ask me.
Most unprofessional video ever. It strokes good. It's not even proper English. The pump handle is it's definitely squared off instead of being rounded. The pump arm is pretty solid. I think it's like the same titanium pump arm that they used on the KP2. It's obviously it's not as smooth as a CCM or anything like that. You can feel a little bit of spring kick tension, and a little bit of grinding, when you actually pump the marker. But
yeah, and the trigger's long.
Yeah, the trigger pull is long. But compared to the KP2, it's a huge improvement. It's vastly superior.
Yeah.
The gun itself is half blocked. with a nice sled. It looks fairly quality for for what it is. It has a nice on-off ASA.
Yep.
I mean, there's not.
I like it.
Yeah, I think they did a really, really good job with it, and they said it was going to be right around the 200 area.
Yeah.
Just fantastic price for that.
Yeah, it's at 200.
Yeah,
you don't feel bad about selling it at all. Like, it's not even a question. Is this worth $200? Yes.
Yeah.
Simple.
Yeah. I really don't mind the KP2 at 180. I preferred it better at the original price back when it first came out. It was down at like 130.
Yeah.
I don't mind it on 180 because there was nothing else to go to. You either built your own out of like an old autococker, or you got the Sniper at $420.
Yeah.
So that was a great way for people to try pump without forking out $5,000.
Yeah. So you think the KP3 is worth another $20?
I could reasonably see a Zodin saying it's $250, maybe $260.
I could say 300.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're not saying it. I could say.
Yeah,
if they were asking $300, I would say it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, it's a nice sled. It's a nice pump arm. It's
doesn't look like a cheap gun.
It doesn't look like a cheap gun. Nice on-off. Nice two-piece barrel that interchanges with the Zodin's carbon barrels.
Yeah.
So yeah, I like it. I think they really pulled out a good product here, and I'm kind of excited to get one in. We're definitely going to be getting one in. Fantastic price point.
Yeah.
You can't beat that.
No, it's pretty much the cheapest pump gun out there, except for with the hammer.
Right. Yeah, which discontinued.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, I think they just cranked one out of the park on that one. I'm pretty pumped. I think they did a fantastic job.
You pretty pumped?
Yeah, exactly. Did you see what I did there?
Yep.
I didn't even mean to.
Zinger!
I'm so good. So that's really all we got to. The only 4 things we really went in depth today with on day 1. Obviously, tomorrow, Wednesday, we're in classes again. I'll have more free time again. Pretty sure I'll have the opportunity to take a lot better pictures and a lot more pictures of more things and go check out more things that I either didn't get to stop by in the first place at all, and I'll definitely have time to go check out a bunch of stuff that I was unable to kind of glance at and stop in and say hi and like, oh cool, look, that's new, I'll see you later. I'll be able to check out some more stuff in detail, and that will be in tomorrow night's day 2 afterthoughts. So yeah,
pretty much it.
Yeah, I am going to have a drink and go to bed because I'm really tired.
Yep, sounds good.
So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Hope you guys learned something. If you have any more questions, comments about anything, obviously leave it down in the comments section. Stuff you want us to go check out or people you want us to talk to, all that kind of stuff. Really appreciate it if you guys enjoyed the video and learned something. If you hit that like button, it helps out the channel more than you could know. And that's all we got for you tonight. So I will see you guys tomorrow.
Yep.
Day 2 for Paintball Extravaganza.
Yep. Cheers.